Alright, Shalom, y'all. I want to give all praise to Yahweh Ba'Shem Shai. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Salutations to the apostles and salutations to the Akim out there spreading this truth like wildfire. Shalom to the Israelite foreigners who look like the other nations, but their spirit beareth witness that they're the children of Yahweh Ba'Shem Shai. And shalom to the real sisters out there. Alright, I just want to go in on how this live is about. I titled this live "That Girl's Poison" because it. If you look at that song, yeah, it's about a wicked ass Eve, but it's about, like it can be used to describe how our people are so in love with this whore, the great whore of Revelation, also known as Babylon the Great, and how, like, no matter what, they won't come out of her, meaning they won't stop following her ways. And a perfect example of that is this Easter shit that's coming up. They can't let go of it. Like, even though they know that shit is off, they can't let, even the ones that, it's widely available, the knowledge that Easter is off, it goes back to Ishtar, is widely available. Widely available. I mean, we have the internet. This info been out there. And in this time period, Jake is supposed to be woke, right? But for some reason, they're only selectively woke. And you a lot of Jakes that you still into so-called Christianity. Y'all can't let go of these folly days that are pushed in this whore. Y'all can't let go of that shit. Y'all can't let go of the system. Y'all can't let go. Well, y'all can't let go of we gotta vote and shit. Y'all can't let go of none of that shit. Y'all are selectively woke. Revelation, the scripture of Revelation that I posted, the scripture right here. This is Yahweh Ba'Shem Shai's instructions to y'all. Khan right here, verse 4. And I heard another voice from heaven, saying, Come out of her, my people, that ye not be partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not of her plagues. Verse 5, For sins have reached unto heaven, and Yahweh had remembered her iniquities. Y'all oughta come out of her, meaning stop committing fornication with with this whore. All nations, all nations, verse 3, for all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. And that in all nations, that includes you Israelites, that are you Babylonian Israelites, as well as to a certain extent you Israelites that are not in Babylon. For example, a lot of you Northern Kingdom so-called Latinos, a lot of y'all are heavily into this Easter shit, which is, hey, this title fits that holiday too, since it comes from the Babylonian, it comes from the worship of the Babylonian goddess Ishtar. Shit. Yeah, I got it pulled up right here. Yeah, right here. The naming of the celebration as Easter seems to go back to the name of a pre-Christian goddess in England, Easter, who was celebrated at beginning of spring. The only reference to this goddess comes from the month of the Venerable, a British monk who lived in the late 7th, early 8th century. And look at this holiday, this article, Salakia. Look at this article, and yeah, these so-called Christians, this article is going to tell you why Easter is called Easter and other little known facts about the holiday. On April 12th, Christians, so-called Christians, will be celebrating Easter, the date on which the resurrection of Yahushua, who they call Jesus, is said to have taken place. The date of celebration changes from year to year. The reason for this variation is that Easter always falls on the first Sunday after the first full moon following the spring equinox. So it depends on the spring equinox. It's going to go into it. I am a religious studies scholar specializing in early Christianity, and my research shows that this dating of Easter goes back to the complicated origins of this holiday and how it has evolved over the centuries. Easter is quite similar to other major holidays, really they're folly days like Christmas and Halloween, and also pagan, they're also pagan holidays that the church, a lot of these Christians celebrate, especially Christmas, they're real big on that, which have evolved over the last 200 years or so. In all of these holidays, Christian and non-Christian pagan elements have continued to blend together. That was our people. That was our people learning the ways of the heathen and then calling it and then repackaging it, making it look like, oh, it's alright, it's not going off, giving it so-called Christian name. Well, Easter is not a so-called Christian name, but repackaging it, and basically making it all right. Basically, like making it's similar to how mate to how also art is similar to you know calling unclean animal clean, calling it something else. Okay, now it's clean. Salakia. Just repackaging it, repackaging it, giving the the ritual, giving the traditions new names, new na- the practices new names, and trying to say, this is a way that you can worship Yahweh Shem Shai. That's what our people did. Alright, Easter, see it says right here, Easter as a rite of spring. Most major holidays have some connection to the changing of seasons. This is especially obvious in the case of Christmas. The New Testament gives no information about what time of year Yahushua was born. Well, really, if you look at it, I'll go into it too. Nah, wait, that's a whole other conversation right there. That's a whole other holiday. But it's also a part of this Babylon juice that's been pushed out there. But he was actually born, he was obviously born around the springtime. He died when he was 33. He's the Passover lamb. Passover is in the spring. So he was born in the springtime. Many scholars believe, however, that the main reason Yahushua's birth came to be celebrated on December 25th, and they stay calling him Jesus, is because that was the date of the winter solstice according to the Roman calendars, the real reason for the season. Since the days following the winter solstice gradually become longer and less dark, it was ideal symbolism for the birth of the light of the world. That's their justification, as stated in the New Testament's Gospel of John, which is bullshit. It's not an ideal. It's not ideal symbolism, and it makes no sense. The dead of winter, and it makes no sense. Born in a manger, the shepherds are out with their sheep in the dead of winter. So obviously it has a pagan origin. Similar was the case with Easter, which falls in close proximity to another key point in the solar year, the vernal equinox around March 20th, when there are equal periods of light and darkness. For those in northern latitudes, the coming of spring is often met with excitement, as it means an end to the cold days of winter. And that's, when spring begins, it's actually, which is in, they say to March 20th, but it's in March. That's the day that they put it on. That's they put it around the March 21st. It's in March when spring begins, as it means into the cold days of winter. And that's actually when the new year begins, not in the dead of winter, which is another Babylonian practice that they pushed. This Gregorian calendar, changing of law times and laws. That's also what this devil did, and it's all folly. Spring also means the coming back to life of plants and trees that have been dormant for winter, as well as the birth of new life in the animal world. It's fertility, it's a fertility practice. Yeah, it's a fertility practice. The eggs, the bunny. Come on now. It's worship of fertility goddess. No, it's they're gonna they're gonna justify it right here. Given the symbolism of new life and rebirth, it was only natural to celebrate the resurrection of Yahushua at this time of the year. Which that is their justification for that shit. The naming of the celebration as Easter seems to go back to the name of pre-Christian goddess in England, Easter, which is celebrated at the beginning of spring, which really it goes back to before that. Really it goes back to Ishtar. If this article don't go into it, I'm gonna pull up another article that shows that. The only reference to this goddess comes from, the writings of the Venerable Bede, a British monk who lived in the late 7th and early 8th century. As religious study scholar Bruce Forbes summarizes, quote-unquote, Bede wrote that the month in which English Christians were celebrating the resurrection of Yahushua, who these people called Jesus, had been called Eoster Monath in Old English, referring to a goddess named Eoster. And even though Christians had begun affirming the Christian meaning of the celebration, they continued to use the name of the goddess to designate the season, because it was the same thing. They kept the practices, they just, so-called Christianized them. Bede was so influential for later Christians that the name stuck, and hence Easter remains the name by which the English, Germans, and Americans referred to the festival of Yahushua's resurrection, which they called him Jesus, but those who know that his name is Yahushua. Then they're gonna say it connects to Yahushua. This was a mistranslation. It connects to the Pesach and all that, but the Pesach was celebrated earlier than this, last month, around the beginning of last month. So, Esau tries to justify it, and we're gonna read what he says. It is important to point out that while the name Easter is used in the English-speaking world, many more cultures refer to it by terms best translated as Passover. For instance, Pascha in Greek. Pascha in Greek, a reference indeed to the Israelite festival of Passover, not Jewish Israelite. Yeah, they stay using that Jewish word, which means like a Jew, pertaining to a Jew. Basically, yeah, we're not Jewish or Israelites. In the Hebrew Bible, Passover is a festival that commemorates the liberation of the Israelite people from slavery in Egypt, as narrated in the book of Exodus. It was and continues to be the most important Israelite seasonal is not celebrated on the first full moon after the vernal equinox. It had nothing to do with the fertility and all that though. Had nothing to do with Really, it had nothing to do with the season. Had to do with our people being delivered. But it is celebrated at the beginning. Well, it was the beginning of our journey out of, well, it was a deliverance. No, yeah, it had nothing to do with a seasonal festival, It had nothing to do with that. And they're saying it's celebrated on the first full moon after the vernal equinox, which, nah, it's celebrated before that. Yeah, they're saying that in March or April. This is where Easter came, where when so-called when the church started celebrating these pagan holidays. In AD 325, the Emperor Constantine, who favored Christianity, convened a meeting of Christian leaders to resolve important disputes at the Council of Nicaea. The most fateful of its decisions was about the status of Hamashiach, whom the council recognized as fully human and fully divine. This council also resolved that Easter should be fixated. Yeah, this is when it came into the picture. Should be fixated on Sunday, not on day 14 of Nisan. As a result, Easter is now celebrated on the first Sunday after the first full moon of the vernal equinox. So Emperor Constantine, who was a wicked ass Jake. This was after Septimus Severus. This was after he took down the Roman Empire. That Jake took down the Roman Empire, but he was still pagan. He was still wicked, but he was a Jake. That was after Jake took over. This guy, so this nigga, like, this is what he did. And that's why that's why Easter is known as a so-called Christian holiday. The Easter bunny and Easter eggs. In early America, the Easter festival was far more popular among Catholics than Protestants. For instance, the New England Puritans regarded both Easter and Christmas as too tainted by non-Christian influences to be appropriate to celebrate. And that part right there, they were actually right. Even though they were still, Edomites, and they still worship the so-called white image of Yahushai, the Cesare Borgia. They were right about Easter and Christmas being off. Such festivities also tended to be opportunities for heavy drinking and merrymaking. Mirth. That's exactly what mirth is. The fortunes and the mirth of the land is gone, so y'all can't go to the so-called church houses. And y'all can't do all that. Have your little Easter egg hunts. Have your Easter service at dawn, at the crack of dawn. But y'all still finding ways to do it. Hold on a second. For those who don't know yet, like, for those who haven't been watching my videos, I'm suffering from a condition. You know, it's a very, so I'm suffering from a tongue spasm, and I have like a fucking, I have uh a fucking growth under there. So it's a painful condition that I have to deal with. So sometimes I gotta stop the live to deal with it. Yeah, the fortunes of both holidays change in the 9th century, so slack you for that, but I gotta deal with that. When they became occasions to be spent with one's family. This was done partly out of desire to make the celebration of these holidays less rowdy. So that's how they sold it to the people. Oh, it's for the kids. You hear that a lot. These are kids on egg hunt. Celebrating, which Easter egg goes back to that. It goes back to worshiping a fertility goddess. Really, all this goes back to Ishtar and Semiramis. Yeah, all this goes back to that. But Easter, Astarte, aka Astarte. But Easter and Christmas also became reshaped as domestic holidays because understandings of children were changed. Prior to the 17th century, children were rarely the center of attention. So was the man and the woman, the mother and the father and the mother, that they was the center of the attention. It was about them. It was not about the kids. Cause children were lumped together with members of the lower orders in general, especially servants and apprentices, who not coincidentally were generally young people themselves, quote unquote, as a historian Stephen Nissenbaum writes. So then that comes from the children being under, and also Esau was originally, they were the peasants and shit. The Bowers, Rothschilds, Bowers, they were the peasants. So that comes from Israelites ruling Europe. That comes from that culture that they taught these Puritans. They taught the ancestors of these Puritans. So they got it from our people. From the 17th century, and first they had to come in that energy. These elites, these devils, they had to come in that energy. Oh, we're Christians, we're were so-called God-fearing, they had to come, and then they call themselves the Jews too. These Amalekites were calling themselves the Jews. So they had to come, speaking as a lamb. Well, they had to come looking like a lamb, but really they spoke as dragons. They was killing our people. And they still, you see them with their unrighteous decrees. You see them using more unrighteous decrees. Their tongue as a weapon. They whet their tongue as a sword. From the 17th century onward, there was an increased recognition of childhood as a time of life that should be joyous, not simply as preparatory for adulthood. This quote-unquote discovery of childhood and adulting upon children had profound effects on how Easter was celebrated. So that's how, they started looking at the kids and taking them more seriously and thinking of them more. And that became a justification for pagan holidays. Check the comment board real quick. I wonder if Esau is hiding my live or some shit. That's why ain't nobody watching it. But let me get this scripture I was thinking of. And children are their oppressors. Because these devils, these devils they're really children at heart. And but it also goes into this, that they became, I'm going to pull it up on here so I could have that scripture open in that one too. Esau is a child at heart, but also, these mischievous women, they bring you forth monsters. So also them too. It's meant literally as well as figuratively referring to Esau. Isaiah chapter 3 verse 12, as for my people, children are their oppressors, and women rule over them. O my people, they which lead thee cause thee to err, and destroy the way of thy paths. There's a precept to that too. Job 30. Job chapter 30, where he talks about these devils. Khan, what refers to them as children, their children, which that doesn't really prove the point, but this does right here. Verse 1, but now they that are younger than I have me in derision, whose fathers I would have disdained to set with the dogs of my flock. Yea, a word too might the strength of their hands profit me, in whom old age was perished. Verse 3, and then it talks about these devils. For want and famine they were solitary, fleeing into the wilderness in former time, desolate and waste. Verse 4, who cut up mallows by the bushes and juniper roots for their meat. Verse 5, they were driven forth from among men. They cried after them as after a thief. Verse 6, to dwell in the cliffs of the valleys and caves of the earth and in the rocks. Kids are always getting into shit, They always getting into shit. Hey, they be stealing shit too. And that way they're like children and they don't take responsibility. They just straight up deny that shit. So in that way they are, you know, they have a mind of a child. And, the negative qualities and no positive qualities. Alright, verse 7. Among the bushes they brayed, under the nettles they were gathered together. Verse 8. They were children of fools, yet children of base men, they are viler than the earth. Verse 9. And now I am their song, yet I am their byword. Yeah, man. Oh, yeah. And it goes, they have destroyed thy path, right? Verse 13. They mar my path, they set forward my calamity, they have no helper. Yeah, calls them the youth. Upon my right hand rise the youth, they push away my feet and they raise up against me the ways of their destruction. Verse 12. Yeah, that goes into comment right here. O my people, they which lead thee cause thee to err and destroy the way of thy path. So that goes into that. But also I want to get something else. I want to get, hold up, I can select. Let me just, yeah, hold up. That would be towards the end, Slaku. See what it's doing. It's including all the scriptures with women in them. God, wait, hold up. It's in the wisdom of Solomon. Pretty sure it is. I'm pretty sure it is, man. Sometimes, I don't know. It won't look it up. It won't look up the exact words. I don't know why. Weird shit. Salakia. Mistress woman, man. Shit, fuck. Yeah. My phone takes time to do shit. It's slow as fuck. Yeah. Yeah. I thought it was the wisdom of Solomon. Salakia. Yeah, right here. 2 Esdras, chapter 5, verse 8. There shall be a confusion also in many places, and the fire shall be offset again, and the wild beasts shall change their places, and menstruous woman shall bring forth monsters. Hold on, Akim. All right. Back. So, yeah, and all this on Babylon, the Hebrew word for it is Babal, which means confusion. And there shall be a confusion also in many places that you see that. You see the confusion that this whore is pushing it through the media, through these celebrities, through the fool system, through, yeah, and they're pushing it throughout the world. So it's in many places, and the fires shall be offset. Again, you see that, especially during Jacob's trouble. Well, also Esau dropping bombs on places. Far from heaven, right? Like described in Revelation, heaven meaning the skies. And the wild beasts shall change their places, and menstruous women shall bring forth monsters. You see, this is the point right here. Menstruous women bring forth monsters, and these monsters are ruling over us. Not only these menstruous women, but the monsters that they bring forth. Like nowadays, kids these days ain't like the kids even from my generation. They ain't even like them. They're different. They're more likely to buck up. Basically, they're more likely to. Before before it wasn't that bad. Even though it was getting bad, but because you had that Slovakia, y'all. Because you had that hatred for the father and shit. So you still had it. You had that dishonor for the father due to the curses. But kids, these but each generation, waxing worse. So the kids nowadays they're going wild like the women. Because the woman will always, they will take the kid's side versus the father, basically. Or they'll a lot of the time they'll do that. Hold on, Akim. This shit this shit right here, this phone keeps, it always wants to, it's quick to go to screensaver and shit. So, it's before that, but it's the way it is. But anyways, yeah, and the media shows that shit too. The media encourages that shit, just like it encourages feminism. Them to do whatever they want and shit. And you see them doing. You see kids out here doing shit that my generation we wasn't doing as much. We was into doing folly and shit. We had our problems, but it's getting new generation. They don't give a fuck about nothing. Like they don't give, they ain't got the morals that the past generations had. Like they're all about, damn man, hold up. They're all about popping pills, getting high, fucking bitches, and the whole women, the women or the young women. But these teenagers, they're already women. These teenage boys, they're men. They're grown men. That goes back to the confusion in many places, cause back in the good old days. It was really the good old days. Back in the biblical, the Old Testament, days when the Old Testament and New Testament was being written. Back in those days when we were in the land, they, like, when she was 12, you was considered grown. You was considered an adult. So a lot of the reason is because Esau fucked everything up. He changed times and laws. And so, but even the kids that are younger than that, they're wilding out. They're wilding out. And they're all about that too. You do anything to them, they call CPS on your ass. So, again, really all this can be traced back to Esau, Edom. And then before that, it can be traced back to Esau, Edom. And that's the wicked that's been given control of the world. He changed times and laws. I'm gonna get that too. He seek to change times and laws. Khan, Daniel chapter 7, verse 25, and he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws, and they shall be given into his hand until a time and times and dividing of time. And that is this devil, this the modern day Roman Empire, which is the fourth beast. And it's talking about America. And another shall rise after them. These 10 kings that arose, another shall rise after them, and he shall be diverse from the first, a republic, a so-called democracy. And then really, they supposedly we pick our leaders, but really that's bullshit. But supposedly we pick our leaders. It gives us this queendom gives us the illusion that we choose our rulers and shit. That's how it's diverse. From the first, and he shall subdue 3 kings, England, France, Spain. England, the Revolutionary War. France, the French Indian War, and also buying that land after Napoleon. He needed it. He needed it to fight the war and shit. So he was in the place, and he sold it to Esau, also the French and Indian War, which, yeah, that would count, because America, the United States of America, the concept of this country was actually conceived before all this, back in 1500s, late 1500s, by Francis Bacon. Really, Columbus coming over here and taking down the tribes was the beginning of Esau trying to set up his new world order. And Cesare Borgia and all that. But yeah, the French and then the Spanish, this land, Latin America, or so-called Latin America, the Northern Kingdom, was being ruled over by the Spanish Edomites. And they were they were displaced because American Edomites they actually supported the revolution, but in order to get the Spaniards out of the way and actually they would have control, and these leaders for example, Simon Bolivar, he was actually a Freemason. So they had backing from America, which is all pretty much all U.S. presidents are Freemasons. One is Skull and Bones. That's W. He's Skull and Bones. The rest of them Freemasons, and so they would back up. They would back up their Simon Bolivar, who's a Mason. So this was all about that. It was really to take control of a land. It was these devils. It was Satan versus Satan, basically. And also when Florida was taken from the Spaniards, because that was an example of that. So it's obviously America, aka Babylon the Great. That's that little horn. And that's that little horn that's being spoke of. And he shall speak great words against. He's the one that really pushed that out. If you look at it, out of all these 10 horns, these Edomite kingdoms, empires, out of all of them, America, the whore, has been, which America's a queendom. That's also how it's diverse from the first. It's a queendom represented by a woman, Lady Liberty. And it has a female name. America. So that's also how it's diverse. And America has been going around the world doing this shit right here, wearing out the saints of the Most High. America did that the most. Think to change times and laws. America did that even more. And they shall be given unto his hand. The Uncle Sam, because also represented by Uncle Sam, really Uncle Satan or Uncle Esau. And so a time and times and the dividing of times. And then Uncle Sam, some about him that basically look at him, you look at Baphomet, and that's basically Baphomet right there, which is has both male and female features. Another way that is diverse. Hold on, Akim. Hold on. Baphomet and Lady Liberta, the whore, that sit upon many waters. No man. Hey, that's what America is all about. The man has to be effeminate. The man should be effeminate. So-called toxic masculinity is condemned. And the woman, she gets the right to do whatever. She gets the right to be a whore, to have that crown on her. To have that crown on her, Lady Liberta, give not a woman much liberty. could look that up too. And it's Shalom Akia Yahweh Shem Yahushai Barakatah. Yeah, our people need to let go of this great whore and all that bullshit that she pushes. 'Cause that whore is poison. Khan, that to the wicked, that to Esau, that to Uncle Satan, and that Shedemite bitch. Shedemite bitch, Lady Liberta. And these wicked ass Eves that want to follow after her. And also, brother, you know how these devils, no, Salaki, this is what I'm trying to say. You know how these women, they're the main ones that be pushing brothers to celebrate these pagan holidays. And then Jake listens to his woman, 'cause his woman tells him, we gotta do it for the kids. It's fun for the kids, like it, it's fun. So that's also how women and children rule over us. And wear us out. Yeah. After we start listening to the kids and the women, that's when these pagan practices became more widespread. And then Esau, of course, the ultimate child, he pushed that shit out to make money off of it as well. Yeah, it is at this point that in the holidays development that Easter eggs and the Easter bunny became especially important. Decorated eggs have been part of the Easter festival at least since medieval times, given the obvious symbolism of new life. So are wicked ass people following these heathens. A vast amount of folklore surrounds Easter eggs, and in a number of Eastern European countries, the process of decorating them is extremely elaborate. Several Eastern European countries describe eggs turning red in connection with the events following Yahushua's death and resurrection. So, this obviously an egg has nothing to do, or even the egg turning red has absolutely nothing to do with the death and resurrection of Yahushua. Obviously, hey, that's a fable right there too. And that's what our people are into. They exchange the truth. They exchange the truth of Yahweh Shem Yahushai for a lie. Ah, shit. It's not what I meant to do. Khan. This is exactly what happened. Who changed the truth? Romans 1:25, who changed the truth of Yahweh into a lie. That's exactly what happened. That's exactly what that nigga Constantine did. And worshipped and served the creature more than the creator. You know, worshipping a goddess, a fertility goddess, you know, which women worshiping, that's what that is. More than the creator who is blessed forever. Amen. That's exactly what our people did. And Esau made it even bigger. Kanak. That's why even, hold on, this phone is not that good. What the fuck? My phone is tripping out. Satan. Come on, even brothers in the truth, I'm sure have to deal with that. And they be causing brothers to go off and shit with that bullshit. That's why you can't make the same mistake as Adam. You gotta be like, nah, I ain't with all that. As for me and my household, we gonna serve Yahweh by Hashem Yahushai. But Khan, like I was saying, that wicked ass Jake Constantine, this is what he did. You know that hey, Constantine, you know what he also reminds me of? He reminds me of that wicked ass priest in Maccabees. He reminds me of him. Jason. That ungodly wretch. That ungodly wretch. It reminds me of and it talks about Khan. Now such was the height of Greek fashions and increase of heathenish manners like today through the exceeding profaneness of Jason, that ungodly wretch, and no high priest. No, he was a sellout among our people that pushed that shit. Our men of the Lord, they were calling these wicked ass niggas out too. Called him he was bold. Verse 2, thus was he bold to call him a traitor, and that had deserved. Okay, Salakia, I may have gone off because that wasn't talking about that. This is what I wanted to get to right here. Calling themselves Antiochians. Jason right here, yeah, this nigga. But after the death of Seleucus, when Antiochus called Epiphanes took the kingdom, Jason, the brother of Onias, labored underhand to be high priest, promising unto the king by intercession 360 talents of silver, and of another revenue 80 talents. So he was being a coon, basically. He was being a sellout. Besides this, verse 9, he promised to assign 150 more if he might have license to set him up a place for exercise and for the training up of youth in the fashions of the heathen, and to write them of Jerusalem by the name of Antiochian. So this nigga was selling out to the max. He was going above and beyond. Which when the king had granted and he had gotten into his hand the rule, he forthwith brought his own nation to Greekish fashion. And that's Constantine, man. I wouldn't be surprised if I wouldn't be surprised if that's actually Constantine back in the day. I wouldn't actually be surprised if that was him coming back. Verse 11, and the royal privileges granted of special favor to the Jews by the means of John the father of Epiphanes, who went ambassador to Rome for amity and aid, he took away and putting down the governments which were according to the law. So another wicked ass nigga, another sellout, he brought up new customs against the law. These celebrities, that's what they are too. Verse 12, for he built gladly a place of exercise, and these wicked ass pastor pork chops, under the tower itself, and brought the chief young men under his subjection, and made them wear a hat. You know, the man is not supposed to cover his head when he preached and all that. Like, when a man does the work, he's not supposed to cover his head. A woman is supposed to cover his head. Cover her head when she's praying. She's supposed to do that. Because, yeah, she's supposed to cover her head, not the man. Now, yeah, because it was talking about the priests and all that. It made them wear a hat. Probably had something to do with their pagan practices and shit. Verse 13, now such was the height of Greek fashions and increase of heathenish manners through the exceeding profaneness of Jason, that ungodly wretch, and no high priest. The guy, he wasn't a high priest. He was actually placed there by Esau, so he was a puppet. Verse 14, that the priests had no courage to serve any more at the altar, but despising the temple and neglecting the sacrifices, hasten to be partakers of the unlawful allowance in the place of exercise after the game of discus called them forth. So athletics, that comes from these Greeks. That comes from them, which those were not the original Greeks, but the Edomites. And they used to do athletics naked and shit. You would look on, you would be out there looking at, seeing rods and shit, seeing another man's rod. These Edomites are sodomites, and then these niggas followed after them, not setting by the honors of their fathers, but liking the glory of the Grecians best of all, exchanging the truth of Yahweh for Bahashim Yahushai for a lie. Verse 6. By reason whereof sore calamity came upon them, for they had them to be their enemies and avengers, whose custom they followed so earnestly, and unto whom they desired to be like in all things. So these sellout niggas in 2/3, right? They did not gain the favor of Esau. Show favor to the man. Show favor unto the wicked, and he will not learn righteousness. That means trying to teach him the laws as well as adopting his ways to kiss his ass. He's not gonna learn righteousness. He's not gonna be your friend. He may put up a front. He may act like he's your friend, but that's all bullshit. And that's why sore calamity came upon them. And it's no new thing under the sun. These niggas out here want to celebrate the customs of the heathen. And Esau is like, you stupid niggas, I'm still gonna exterminate y'all. Like, you could be a super coon. I'm still gonna exterminate you. So I'll need your ass. And that's what our people don't understand. They continue to make the same mistakes over and over again. Our people are insane. They don't learn from the past. Because they reject the knowledge of the past. They have rejected knowledge. So, that's why they're being destroyed. Yeah, verse 17. For it is not a light thing to do wickedly against the laws of Yahweh, but the time follows shall declare these things. Time following shall declare these things. Verse 18. Now when the game that was used every faith year was kept at Tyrus, the king being present. Verse 19. This ungracious Jason sent special messengers from Jerusalem, who were Antiochians, to carry 300 drachms of silver to the sacrifice of Hercules, which even the bearers thought fit not to bestow upon the sacrifice, because it was not convenient, but to be reserved for other charges. See, they were going above and beyond. These Jakes, they had the zeal. They had the zeal for wickedness. They had zeal for worshiping idols and kissing Esau's ass. Verse 20, like, that was their zeal. They definitely rejected knowledge. This money then, in regard of the sender, and we were in the land too, was appointed to Hercules' sacrifice, but because of the bearers thereof, it was employed to the making of galleys. Verse 21. Now when Apollonius, the son of Menesius, was sent to Egypt for the coronation of King Ptolemaeus Philometor, Antiochus, understanding him not to be well affected to his affairs, provided for his own safety, whereupon he came to Joppa, and from thence to Jerusalem. So, yeah, and that was by the way, the Ptolemies, they were the ones that introduced Serapis Christus, which is really where you get that false image of who 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 these ignorant niggas call Jesus Christ, because Master taught them that. That's where you get it from, Serapis Christus, and then Cesare Borgia. He did the same shit, which really it could be him. It could be Cesare Borgia before he was Cesare Borgia. That could have been him in his past life, doing the same shit. Yeah. Where he was, verse 22, where he was honorably received of Jason and of the city, and was brought in with torch of light and with great shoutings, and so afterwards went with his host unto Phoenix. 3 years later, which is, I think it's like a city of the Phoenicians or something, I'm not sure. 3 years afterward, Jason sent, yeah, I think so. Alright, I'm gonna get back to the point. 3 years afterward, Jason sent Menelaus, the aforesaid Simon's brother, to bear the money unto the king, and to put him in mind of certain necessary matters. Verse 24. But he being brought to the presence of the king, when he had magnified him for his glorious appearance of his power, got a priesthood to himself, offering more than Jason by 300 talents of silver. Yeah, man. So the high priest that, hey, man, hey. So he was like, I'm gonna offer even more money. I'm gonna offer even more money to this devil so I'm gonna kiss his ass even more. Verse 25. So he came with the king's mandate, bringing nothing worthy the high priesthood, by having the fury of a cruel tyrant and the rage of a savage beast. He was an asshole, basically. And that's what happens when the 2/3 Jake becomes a manager. When the 2/3 Jake is in charge of other Jakes, they're assholes. They flex their power. That's how you know who the people of Yahweh Shem Shai are today. It's the same shit they were doing back then, they're doing today. Yeah. So he basically supplanted his brother Jason. Verse 26. Then Jason, which were both wicked niggas, who had undermined his own brother. Hold on. oh yeah, being undermined by another, was compelled to flee into the country of the Ammonites. So he undermined his brother. He was a wicked nigga that got fucked over by another wicked nigga. So what happened to him happened. What he did to his brother happened to him. That that was that was judgment for him. That was righteous judgment. He got repaid for what he did in that act of undermining his brother. It was done to him. Verse 27. So Menelaus got the principality, but as for the money that he had promised unto the king, he took no good order for it, albeit so Stratus, the ruler of the castle, required it. Verse 28. For unto him appertained the gathering of the customs, wherefore they were both called before the king. Verse 29. Now Menelaus left his brother Lysimachus in the stead in the priesthood, and so Stratus left Crates, who was governor of the Cyprians. So, yeah. Verse 30. While those things were in doing, they of Tarsus, and Malos made insurrection because they were given to the king's concubine called Antiochus. They called him, showing you that there is no honor among thieves. All these wicked niggas and these Edomites, they were both fucking each other over. Verse 31. Then came, as they're doing today, the same shit. Then came the king in all haste to appease matters, leaving Andronicus man in authority for his deputy. Verse 32. Now Menelaus, supposing that he had gotten a convenient time, stole certain vessels of gold out of the temple. This was one wicked nigga, and gave some of them to Andronicus, and some he sold unto Tyrus and the cities round about. This nigga right here, man, he has to be one of these wicked ass celebrities today, or these wicked ass camp leaders. He has to be one of them. This nigga right here. He has to be. His wickedness is legendary. 33. Which, when Onias knew of a surety, he reproved him, and withdrew himself into a sanctuary at Daphne that lieth by Antiochia. Man. And this devil named the fucking town for himself. That's how you know. That's how you know. Also, that's Esau. He nameth lands after his. He names lands after their own names. Which they name lands after their own names. 34. Wherefore Menelaus, taking Andronicus apart, prayed him to get Onias into his hands. So he was like, I'm gonna kill this nigga for reproving me. Again, this was one grimy ass nigga who, being persuaded thereunto, and coming to Onias in deceit, gave him his right hand with oaths, and though he were suspected by him, yet persuaded he him to come forth of the sanctuary, whom forthwith he shut up without regard of justice. Yeah. This, this, yeah, man. He has to be one of those wicked ass celebrities or the wicked ass ahead of a wicked ass camp. He has to be. Verse 35, for the which cause not only the Jews, but many also of other nations took great indignation and were much grieved for the unjust murder of a man, of the man. Yeah, man, this nigga right here, man. And our people wonder why they're in such a shitty condition. Because of shit like this. Verse 38. And when the king was come again from the palaces about Cilicia, the Jews that were in the city and certain of the Greeks that abhorred the fact also complained because Onias was slain without cause. Verse 37. Therefore Antiochus was hardly sorry, moved with pity, and wept because of the sober and modest behavior of him that was dead. You know, so he shed a few tears, Esau don't really care about her people, so a few crocodile tears and shit. That was also Jake on Jake crime too. That was happening back then too. Yeah. Verse 38 is what he did next. And being kindled with anger forthwith, he took away Andronicus, his purple, and also something else. The righteous, if you righteous, if you if you righteous, even your enemy shall be at peace with you. It's written that too. So what happens if you're the opposite? Yeah, being kindled. Yeah. His purple rent off his clothes, and leading him through the whole city unto that very place where he had committed impiety against Onias. There slew he the cursed murderer. Thus Yahweh rewarded him his judgment as he had deserved. So he got slain, by the wicked, who is the sword of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. Verse 39. Now when many sacrileges had been committed in the city by Lysimachus, or the consent of Menelaus, and the fruit thereof was spread abroad, the multitude gathered themselves together against Lysimachus, many vessels of gold being already taken away. They were finding out what these wicked niggas were doing. Verse 40. Whereupon the common people, rising and being filled with rage, lit Lysimachus, armed about 3,000 men, and began first offer violence. One Aranus being the leader, a man far gone in years and no less in folly. Wicked niggas. Verse 41. Then they, seeing the attempt of Lysimachus, some of them caught stones, some clubs, others taking handfuls of dust that was next at hand, and cast them all together upon Lysimachus and those that sat upon him. Verse 42. Thus many of them they wounded, and some they struck to the ground, and all of them they forced to flee. But as for the church robber himself, him they killed beside the treasury. So, so the people, they got roused up. They got pissed off because the wicked was ruling. These wicked niggas that were put in place by Esau. They're ruling, and when the wicked when the wicked rule, the people mourn, but when the righteous rule, the people rejoice. So they got vexed by all that shit that was going on. You know? And thus many of them they wounded, and some they struck to the ground. Oh, Khan. Verse 43. Of these matters, therefore, there was an accusation laid against Menelaus. Verse 44. Now when the king came to Tyrus, these men, that were sent from the Senate pleaded the cause before him. But verse 45. Menelaus, being now convicted, promised Ptolemy, the son of Dormes, to give him more money if he would pacify the king toward him. Kissed his ass. Whereupon, then this is what happened. Whereupon taking the king. And all these things leaded to Esau coming down with great wrath on those Jakes. Because this man, he convinced Menelaus he convinced Antiochus, that devil, to discharge him. And it didn't matter. Okay, Khan. Who notwithstanding was cause of all the mischief, and those poor men, who if they had told their cause, yet before suspicion should have been judged innocent, then he condemned to death. So, though the other people, basically, that was involved with him, whom if they had told their cause, they was condemned. But that wicked nigga, got away with it. Yeah, thus they that follow the matter for the city and for the people, and for the holy vessels did suffer soon unjust punishment, wherefore even them that caused them to be, that was moved with hatred of that wicked deed, caused them to be honorably buried. And so through the covetousness of them that were of power, Menelaus remained still in authority, increasing in malice and being a great traitor to the citizens. That was, that. That's about that wicked nigga, but that's what this book goes into. These chapters, they go into detail of how, basically why these devils came down with great wrath. About the time Antiochus prepared his second voyage into Egypt, and then it happened that through all the city, for the space almost of 40 days, there was seen horsemen running in the air. I think I'm getting close to the point. And cloth of gold and armored lances like a band of soldiers, and troops of horsemen in array, accounting and running against one another, with shaking their shields, and multitude of pikes, and drawing of swords, and casting of darts, and glittering of golden ornaments, and harness of all sorts. Wherefore every man, verse 4, prayed Salakia, that apparition might turn to good. Okay. Yeah, and then that's when hey. So basically a bunch of wickedness was having Jason, that other wicked nigga, basically took back control, and then he slew his own citizens, verse 6, without mercy, not considering Slakia, that to get the day of them of his own nation will be most a happy day for him, but thinking they have been his enemies and not his countrymen whom he conquered. Hey, that's the curses right there. Hold on, I'm gonna check the comment board. Yeah, that's how. Yeah, and these devils, they use our people against us. That is the MO of these devils. Divide and conquer. You know, our people being under the curses, they fall right for it. Damn, my fucking head hurts. Verse 54. So that the man that is tender among you and very delicate, his eyes shall be evil towards his brother, and toward the wife of his bosom, and toward the remnant of his children which he shall leave. You know, and then this is that's what these devils did. The nation of fierce countenance, taking all our resources, the fruit of our cattle, the fruit of our land, you know, until we be destroyed, you know, not leaving us much resources. And then this, what Esau is doing with the lockdowns and shit, and then also raising the prices, that's like the ultimate fulfillment of that. And the siege too, that's starting to be, well, you can't go into a city, can't go, a man shall desire to go into a city, but shall not be able to. That's the siege. The checkpoints outside states, you know, and then it's gonna be individual cities that are gonna be locked down too, where there is higher cases. That's what these devils are gonna do. They already do it with these different states. It's basically the same concept that works, so it's a siege. And that's the ultimate fulfillment of this. The ultimate fulfillment of the curses. But even back then our people was going through them. He saw his brother as his enemy. That's our people too. They're like, okay, our people, they get some kind of status. They get a promotion. Or for Northern Kingdom, they get citizenship. Or you know, some of them join the border patrol, they join the police force, and all of a sudden, or they get a come up of some kind, they become celebrities from selling out. They get a bigger crumb from Esau, and all of a sudden, all of a sudden, Salakia. Again, this phone does that shit. They get a come up of some type. They get a bigger crumb from the table of Esau, and then all of a sudden they act like, oh, like they're the shit, and that their brother who got the smaller crumb, their brother who's going through it, they act like they ain't shit. They act like when Jake comes up, they're like, oh yeah, I'm that nigga now. Fuck all you, fuck fuck y'all you broke niggas. Basically, I'm that. Yeah, that's how they're like. Like fuck y'all niggas. Y'all niggas ain't shit. I'm that nigga now. Like that's that's Israel right there. That's how you know. That's also how you know who Israel is today. Because our people compete with each other. They fight with each other over the crumbs. They're like, and then so when they finally get one up on their brother, and they're like, yeah, nigga, fuck you. That our people have been destroyed by these curses. Our people, like, man, they've been destroyed. They have been divided and conquered into so many factions. And then even the individualism, these individual Jakes versus each other. They're like, man, that also, yeah, they don't respect each other. There's no unity. But when Esau or heathen, they'll respect them. When Esau tells them to do something, Esau tells them, uh, uh, there's a pandemic, coronavirus. We gotta lock the cities down. Esau says, when Esau says something, it is more likely to be respected, more likely to be believed than when a Jake says something. It has to be an Edomite, or sometimes they do use our people, so a sellout nigga that Esau basically, Esau bigs up, and these Jakes look up to. But at the same time, these they look up to them, and these celebrities, these leaders of our people, look down on them. Howbeit, for all this he obtained not the principality, but at the last received shame for the reward of his treason, and fled again to the country of the Ammonites. So these yeah, man. It just led to their downfall. The next few verses will explain that. In the end, therefore, he had an unhappy return, being accused before Aretas, the king of the Arabians, fleeing from city to city, pursued of all men, hated as a forsaker of the laws, and being had in abomination as an open enemy of his country and countrymen, he was cast into Egypt. So, hey man, our people trying to make it through carnal means without Yahweh Shem Shai, trying to make it by being wicked. That gets them nowhere. Gets them nowhere, but gets them destroyed. And our people are going to find that out again. Yeah, right here. Oh, that verse 19 kind of goes into it too, because cursed shall thou be when thou goest out. You know, it was even worse than when he came in too. And well, verse 20, that verse perfectly describes the situation. Yahweh shall send upon thee cursing, vexation, and rebuke, and all that thou settest thy hand unto for to do, until thou be destroyed, and until thou perish quickly, because of the wickedness of thy doings, whereby thou hast forsaken me. That is definitely what happened to this nigga. The wickedness did not pay off. You know, there's a saying in the world, it goes like this: you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. That's exactly what happened to this nigga. He played with, well, he made a league with the devil. He basically played with the Most High, and that's a very stupid thing to do. And so he won a stupid prize. Thus he that had driven many out of their country perished in a strange land, retiring to the Lacedaemonians, which were Jake's, and thinking there to find succor by reason of his kindred. So he was like, that's what Jake does too. Rather than repent, they go to another land. They're like, maybe it's gonna work out here. Jake, that's the history of Jake. Jake was catching hell in the land. Jake was getting killed by the Romans in 70 AD. So what did they do? And Yahweh, he actually said, yeah, you gotta flee to the mountains. They fled to the mountains, and then fled to these other areas too. Fled to areas where they think they're gonna make it, Slovakia. And then they was brought to America. They was brought to different parts of Europe, and also the Jakes that was ruling Europe was brought to America too, and they was taken to different places as well. They were taken there from the places that they had migrated to, and then they were taken. No, and then once they was in America, because they were catching hell in the South, they fled to the North, hoping to find, a better situation. But the grass was not greener on the other side. And these Jakes in these different areas, they did the same shit. These Jakes, these speckled bird Jakes that was, in Europe, that was left in Europe, left in Ireland, left in Sicily, left in Eastern Europe, they immigrated to America, they immigrated to England, they immigrated to these different areas, thinking that they were going to be in a better case. but they caught hell there too. Jake went to North. Jake went to California. Northern Kingdom Israelites. They continue to come. Want to come to America, thinking that they're gonna be better off in America. That's our people right there. Instead of repenting, they want to run. Verse 10, and he that cast out many unburied had none to mourn for him, nor any solemn funerals at all, nor sepulture with his fathers. So Deuteronomy chapter 28 verse 19 applies there. Curses shall I be going out. Verse 11, now when that was done came to the king's car, he thought that Judah had revolted. Whereupon, removing out of Egypt in the furious mind, he took the city by force of arm. So all this wickedness that they were doing, killing each other, Israelite on Israelite crime, all this shit, it didn't get them what they seeked for. It didn't get them, like, if they fucking was destroying each other. Salakia. So this shit that Jake was doing to gain power over each other ended up being their downfall. Yeah. And commanded his men of war. So martial law happened. And commanded his men of war not to spare such as they met, and to slay such as went upon the horses. Verse 13. Thus there was killing of young and old, Salakia, making away of men, of women, children, slain of virgins and infants. Esau came down with great wrath. Verse 14. And there were destroyed within the space of 3 whole days 80,000, whereof that's 80,000, whereof 40,000 were slain in the conflict, and no fewer sold than slain. So he also took Jake captive, which is what's going to happen again to the captivity. Those that are destined for the captivity, they're going to go to the captivity, to these FEMA camps. And there were, verse 15, yet was he not, and our organs, these devils are going to make merchandise off of us and shit. They're going to, after they kill us, they're going to have us do, Salakia, they're going to use our organs for shit, our blood for shit. They're going to do that. Use the children for sacrifices and shit, for rituals, snuff films, all kinds of wickedness. You know how these devils work. And also I want to say something else. The way that this economy is going, and how workers are like workers for these jobs that nobody does, basically. They're lacking in farm workers and shit like that. What I see happening, and it's already on the books, is they're gonna have civilians a lot of you Jakes, but also their own people too. They're gonna organize them into work coalitions. I think that's an Obama executive order. They're gonna organize them into coalitions and have them do different shit, like have them basically forced labor. They're gonna do that shit too. So y'all sold out to these devils, and y'all wanna be heathens, but these heathens, they know who you are. They don't see you as heathens. Well, they don't see you as one of their people. They don't see you as, let me rephrase that, yeah. They don't see you as one of their people, even though you want to be like the other nations so bad. They don't see, they still see you as niggas. Still see you as wetbags, pigs. They still see you as Indians, mixed, trash. They still see you as trash. They still see you. They still look down on. They still see you and look down on you. And especially Esau, he has that perpetual hatred against you, Jakes. There is nothing that you can do to change that. And so, yeah, you can. This is what he did. He came down with great wrath. Yeah. And then this wicked nigga, even then, he still went along with it. Yeah. He was, verse 17, and so haughty was Antiochus in mind that he considered not that Yahweh was angry for a while for the sins of them that dwelt in the city, and therefore was his eye was not upon the place. Verse 18, for they had not been formerly wrapped in many sins. This man, as soon as he had come, had forthwith been scourged and put back from his presumption, as Heliodorus was, whom Seleucus the king sent to view the treasury. Nevertheless, Yahweh did not choose the people for the place's sake, but the place for the people's sake. In verse 20, there's a message to you devils. You think that Yahweh Shem Yahushai is not gonna punish you for what you're doing, because he's mad at us for going off. And therefore the place itself that was partaker with them of the adversity. But you're wrong. You're gonna find out that too. That you're just a tool, a sword in the hands of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. That happened to the nation, did afterward communicate in the benefits sent from Yahweh, and as it was forsaken in the wrath of the Almighty. So again, the great Yahweh being reconciled, it was set up with all glory. So when Antiochus had carried out of the temple 1,800 talents, he departed in all haste unto Antiochia, waiting in his pride, Salakia, to make the land navigable and the sea passable by foot. Such was the haughtiness of his mind. He's a proud devil. Verse 22, and he left governors to vex the nation. Not much like you devils today, y'all are the most proud nation out there. And y'all are at the point where y'all are the most proud. At Jerusalem, Philip, for his country of virgin and for manners more barbarous than he had set them there. Verse 23, and at Gerizim and Andronicus, and besides Menelaus, who were worse than all the rest, bear a heavy hand over his citizens, having a malicious mind, evil eye against his countrymen the Jews. Yeah. Verse 24, he sent also that detestable ringleader Apollonius with the army of 22,000, commanding him to slay all those that were in their best age, and to sell the women and the younger sort. Verse 25, who come into Jerusalem in the pretending peace, it forbear to the holy day of the Sabbath, when taking the Jews, keeping holy day, he commanded his men to arm themselves. And so, verse 26, he slew all of them that were gone to the celebrating of the Sabbath, and running through the city with weapons, slew great multitudes. You know, these devils came down and they had that bloodlust like they do today. And Judas Maccabeus with 9 others thereabout withdrew himself unto the wilderness, and lived in the mountains after the manner of beasts, whom with his company, who fed on herbs continually, yes, lest they should be partakers of the pollution. That was what the man of the Lord did. With 9 others, very few. A small sanctuary. And the men of the Lord today, that's what's happening too. We're letting you know, like we've been letting you know, the wickedness, the error of your ways, basically. We've been letting y'all know. And now that the doors of grace are shutting, been out there for so long, and y'all had a chance to hear it, and now the doors of grace are shutting. The grace period is about to expire. Now, and Esau is coming down with great wrath. Amos 9:11 is coming to pass. Now, y'all are gonna be left on your own to get judged, and that is what y'all get. That's the reward for your actions. Because y'all refuse to learn the easy way, y'all are now gonna learn the hard way. You know, these devils are gonna show you their horns, because you didn't believe us when we told you they're the devil. He's gonna show you himself. You want to trust in this broken reed of Egypt? Let me get that. Y'all want to continue drinking that wine of fornication? Well, this is what is gonna happen to you. And if you're watching this video, y'all don't know it, this place is called Spiritual Eden, Spiritual Sodom and Eden. Khan right here. Khan Salakia. Yeah, it says in Isaiah, the book of Isaiah, in the book of 2 Kings, lo, thou trustest in the staff of this broken reed on Egypt, whereon if a man lean, it will go into his hand and pierce it. So is Pharaoh king of Egypt to all that trust in him. Khan, it basically says the same thing right here. And that's what's gonna happen. Y'all are gonna be pierced by that sword, and y'all are gonna be, y'all have already been, Esau also uses his tongue as a weapon or a sword, so y'all are gonna get pierced, y'all are gonna get these unrighteous decrees, they're gonna affect you. They're gonna affect your life, they're gonna change your life. So there's already a lot of them that's on the books that are gonna be put into action. And one of these unrighteous decrees that's gonna be issued is gonna be hold on, Akim. Hold on. Slakia. Hold on. One of those unrighteous decrees, yeah, it's gonna happen, it is gonna pierce y'all, literally. It's gonna go into your hand and pierce y'all. That vaccine, that's self-explanatory, that's gonna pierce y'all. And also, that RFID chip, that immunity certificate, that you got the chip and that you got the vaccine and you are now immune. That's gonna go into your hand, your right hand or your left. It don't matter. You get that chip, and you're fucked. You get that chip, and you basically sign your life away to Esau and also sign your own death warrant. You basically become a slave. You basically become this. I'm gonna get it. It's in the law. Shit. Old Testament. Deuteronomy. Hey, I'm just gonna have to just pierce him with the owl. Okay, maybe I gotta go into more details. His with owl. Let me get it. Hold on, Akim. Khan. Khan right here. Then his master. You know what? I'm gonna just bring that chapter out. Khan right here. Yeah, I'm just gonna start from 4. If his master have given him a wife, and she have borne him sons or daughters, the wife and her children shall be her master's, and he shall go out by himself. Verse 5. And as the servant shall plainly say, I love my master, my wife, my children, I will not go out free. Verse 6. Then his master shall bring him unto the judges. He shall also bring him to the door, or unto the doorpost, and his master shall bore his ear through with the owl, and he shall serve him forever. So that was going to happen. That's the ultimate abomination of desolation. They're going to put that chip in your body, the temple of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. It's the ultimate abomination right there. Right now, y'all already, heathenized in your mind, worshiping the image of the beast. Y'all already doing that. Y'all already, that's the curses right here. That's the curses. And you two-thirds, y'all gonna be destroyed by these curses completely. Khan, and Yahweh shall scatter thee among all people, from the one end of the earth even unto another, and there shall even unto the other, and there thou shalt serve other gods, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone. That's why our people be into these folly days and into the customs of the heathen. Let me just get this. Khan right here. Fuck. Jeremiah 10, verse 2. Thus saith Yahweh, learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, for the heathen are dismayed at them. What are all these based off of? Like, this holiday itself is based off of that too. It's based off of the first. I think it's based off of. Hold up. It's based off of the first new moon after the equinox. Following the spring equinox, Khan. Yep. I'm gonna go into that, and that's a good article. By the way, that's a good article if you want to find out about the the origins of this holiday. You look at that article right here. This article that I have up. which of course you gotta pick out the meat from the bones, but still, this right here, I'm gonna post a link from the conversation.com. Why Easter, basically, why Easter is called Easter, basically. Yeah. Yeah, so Easter is clearly, specifically referred to, as well as Christmas. If you read that chapter, it refers to that too. Solstice, come on now. Yeah, solstice and equinox, yeah. Learn not the way of the heathen. And so, yeah, y'all need to, the whole point of this video is that y'all need to get out of her. People, meaning y'all need to get your minds out of this Americanized, Babylonian, Western mindset, Edomitized mindset. You'll need to get out of that mindset that she's put you on. Get, sober up. Stop sipping on that Babylonian wine. Wine of the wrath of her fornication. Stop sipping on that wine. Put down the bottle. And you need to sober up, and you need to come out of her. Get out of that mindset, the drunkenness that she put you on. Stop taking this wine. Stop taking this. That wine is also the same wine that's referred to right here. Well, later on, actually. It's referred to in Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 15. Woe unto him that giveth his neighbor drink, that puttest thy bottle to him, and makest him drunk also, that thou mayest look on their nakedness. Verse 16. Thou art filled with shame for glory. Drink thou also, and let thy foreskin be uncovered. The cup of the Lord's right hand shall be turned unto thee, and faithful spoon shall be on thy glory. These wicked ass holidays, they're being exposed. Everything that this devil has pushed, all these holidays, which he didn't come up with them, but he pushed them. Everything about this devil system, this whore, is being exposed. Shameful spewing is on his glory. Open up your eyes, and you will see it. And you will see it. And so you need to, you will see it. What was I gonna say? And you will come out of her. Well, it should cause you to come out of her. But like I said, the reason I titled it this, the reason